Caught in the Sweep of History reflects that flood of events that sweeps away everything that people have known and totally changes their life. These people got up to face a normal day. The shots fired at Fort Sumter meant that their days from this point on would be anything but normal. They would have a lot of decisions to make, and those decisions might lead to their death. It's basically going to be about individuals. We're going to talk about the war. We're going to say this is how the war started. We're going to say this is where these battles were fought. Kind of abstracts of the battles and what they achieved, and more about the men and how they experienced these battles and how what happened to the men affected the people who lived back home. I mean, that's kind of the crux of the exhibit. They ran special trains from Chicago and St. Louis to bring dignitaries and Civil War veterans to Murfreesboro. And it wasn't a big monument, it was more like a cornerstone to the museum and monument that they hoped to build. The governor came down and spoke. You see Logan's daughter who came, and they were there to fashion a dream. And I'm sure in their minds that the placement of that marker, which is still on the museum grounds, as small as it was the start of something big. They said they were going to have a Logan monument and build Memorial Hall. The logistics of it were enormous and probably impossible. To gather together all of those items from all of the volunteer soldiers from the Revolutionary War to the Spanish-American War, and to exhibit those with a record of each and every individual and their descendants, plus the objects that they had carried to war with them. The idea that they planted in 1914 was not initiated until 1989 when we opened the Logan Museum. So in a sense, we are following the lead of these people and have established a nice little museum about Logan. And with this exhibit, we're going to start to gather together those things that represent not every volunteer soldier, but the volunteer soldiers of Southern Illinois during the Civil War. Frank Fager joined right here in Murfreesboro in 1861. August the 26th, 1861, he enlisted. Less than 2 years later, he would have died of diarrhea and dysentery. And he's buried in a marked grave in Mound City National Cemetery. We have a descendant who remembers his story of how his mother went down to see him at the hospital at Mound City. And she decided not to take him home. She left him there, and that he died there later. I know these stories are out there. I know there are records out there. I know there are artifacts out there. I know there are letters out there. We would love for the people of Southern Illinois to share those items with us, especially during the years that would reflect something that that soldier was doing at that time. We want to bring all of these things together in one place so that if somebody wants to know what Southern Illinois did in the war, we can say, this is what Southern Illinois did in the war. That's what we would like to tell. And it's a big, big story, but I think with help we can do that. We're looking to make it a wonderful exhibit, and really the more contributions we have from individuals who can tell us, who will share their stories with us, who will share copies of their letters with us, the better exhibit it will be, the better our collection will be, that will enable this museum to be a repository for the story of the men from Southern Illinois.